All right, hi guys, welcome to another yoga session. Actually today we are going to be working on mobility for the neck and the shoulders, right? So this is good for everyone, but it is especially good for anybody who has kind of just nagging aches and pains or just tightness, right, in general in their neck, shoulders, and even their upper back. So the beginning of the class, we're going to start off with myofascial release. And so for that, you will need some equipment. You will need a ball. So that could be a tennis ball, a lacrosse ball. It could even be a golf ball. Golf balls tend to be a little bit smaller and a bit more dense. So it might not be quite as enjoyable. It might be a little too intense, especially if you've never done myofascial release. So I recommend a tennis ball if you're just starting out or something about that, right? So a little bit squishier. Okay, so... And then, other than that, we're just gonna get started kind of assessing how we feel. So find a seat. It doesn't even have to be in cross-legged position, right? You could be sitting in a chair at first. We will be moving down to laying on our back, so you'll eventually want a ground space, but you don't even need a yoga mat. Okay, so from here, we're just gonna sit up nice and tall, and then just look over your right shoulder, right? And just assess, just see how that feels, or see if there's any tightness involved here. And then come back through center, look over your left shoulder. And again, just stay here and see if there's a different side to side. So especially with things like neck and shoulder pain, a lot of times we have that tightness or pain on one side and we have either less of it or maybe none of it on the other side. So it's good to just kind of notice where we are holding all of our tension. Then come back through center. Okay, same but different, right? This time bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. Right, shoulders stay relaxing down. We're trying not to hunch up and tense up here. Take a big breath in. Breath out. And then come back through center, this time left ear to left shoulder. And then coming back through center. And then just take maybe a few neck circles here. Right, so only going to the degree that it actually feels good, right? If it starts to feel not so good, then back off a little bit. All right, then come up to a nice tall seat. Okay, so from here, we're gonna bring our fingertips by our side. We're gonna roll our shoulders up and back and just kind of feel how that feels. So we're gonna do that a few times, just rolling the shoulders. And switching directions. Just kind of loosening things up. And then inhale, sweep your arms up. See about if you could get your fingertips to touch overhead. See if you can get your palms to touch overhead. And if they don't, that is okay, right? This is still just kind of assessing, seeing where we're at today. So it doesn't matter if they do touch. Take a big breath in, breath out, and then drop the hands down. Okay, so we're gonna get right into that myofascial release. If you've never done this, it's gonna be an amazing deep tissue massage, so you are welcome. Okay, so you're gonna take your ball, and we're actually going to lay down on it, but first I'm going to show you about where you are looking. So there is your shoulder blade, right? You can feel kind of the bony ridge of your shoulder blade. And then if you go more towards the center, you can feel your spine, or you at least know where your spine is, right? We're looking for the ball to go right in between those two, right? So right about here. And we're starting with our traps, right? So we are going to lay down on the ground. And you're gonna place that ball underneath of your trap. It doesn't matter which side, because we will switch sides. So you might have to move around a little bit to actually find any kind of areas of tension or knots or even trigger points. So you can kind of move your hips around by pressing into your feet, lifting up, and you're just kind of moving around until you find a good spot, right? When you find a spot, everybody's got it. It does not matter if you experience absolutely no pain and you have great mobility, you have areas where you hold tension in your shoulders. A fact. Okay, so once you find that spot, rest on it for a minute. See if you can relax into the ball. Then take a big breath in. Tense up around the ball. And then exhale, let it all out. Seeing if you can relax into the ball. Let's do that one more time. Big breath in. And then breath out. Okay, so you can stay right here the whole time. We're gonna be here for about 2 minutes each side, okay? So that gives us plenty of time I'm going to put a timer on. Sorry. Here we go. Okay. So it gives you plenty of time to kind of explore. So you can stay right here. If it is very intense, then just stay and breathe. If it is painful, actually painful, then move off of it, right? Find either something a little bit softer or just go a little bit lighter on the ball. Okay, so if, however, you want a little bit more, you can start to take your arm, the same side that you have the ball under, take that arm through any range of motion. So you can start by maybe just reaching up and overhead and then coming back down, right? And you might find a point or a range of motion where you can no longer go any further, right? And that is okay. So we're just kind of noticing any limitations. You could reach across the body. You could reach down towards the opposite hip. And if you feel nothing, right, then just move. Press into your feet, lift your hips. Maybe you scooch down a little bit or you scooch up a little bit. Take a big breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. And if you find that really juicy area that is feeling lots and lots of tension, then you just stay there, right? You don't need to move around anymore. You don't even have to take that arm through its range of motion. You could just sit there and breathe and try to relax the muscles around the ball. All right, we've got about 30 more seconds in this spot. All right, take one more big breath in, breath out, and then we're just gonna move that ball down about maybe 1 inch to 2 inches down your spine, right? So again, it's not on the spine, it is not on the shoulder blade, it is in between the spine and the shoulder blade. You can do that one of two ways. You can either take your hand and actually move the ball down, or you can press into your feet, lift your hips, and then just roll up, right? So that the ball goes down. Okay. So again, we're in a new area. We're a little bit more towards our rhomboids, right? And still a little bit on our traps, probably. So from here, ooh, I found a spot. Okay, so you'll roll around until you find a nice sensitive spot, a spot where you're holding a lot of tension. And then again, we'll just start with that big breath in, breath out. You can keep with that, or you can start to find that movement. You can start reaching your arm in different range of motion. Right, and just kind of paying attention. So if you get to a spot where you're like, ooh, that feels like a little bit too much, back off. Or back off just a little bit where it's intense but not too intense, and just breathe there. Right, and so this is actually some of my favorite type of work to do, body work to do, because you can do it, honestly, you don't need much equipment, you just need a ball. You can do it while watching TV or listening to music or a podcast or I don't know, whatever, right? And you feel the relief when you are done, like pretty much instantaneously. So it's amazing work. Okay, about 30 more seconds in this spot. So find something really good. And then take a big breath in, breath out. And then we will slowly take that ball and we're just gonna switch sides. Whew. So before we move it over to the other side, just kind of take the ball out from whatever side it was under and just lay down, relax into the mat. And maybe you can already feel a difference, right? Either side to side, or maybe you just already feel relief in whatever side you were doing. So while we lay here, just look over your right shoulder, see how that feels. And then look over your left shoulder, see how that feels. And then just come back through center, grab that ball, and then we're gonna start on the other side. So we'll start with the trap, right? So a little bit higher up. So again, we're in between the shoulder blade and the spine, right? Not on the spine, not on the shoulder blade. So we're gonna take that ball, we're gonna place it, wedge it underneath of our trap area. Okay, so you might have to roll around, shift around a little bit to find that good spot. All right, and then take a big breath in, breath out. Okay, so either stay here, just breathe and relax, or start to take that arm through its range of motion. So the arm that is on the same side as the ball. All right, you can reach up and down. Right, I always recommend starting with one movement, right? So maybe it's just reaching up and down. And then once you've explored that for a little bit, you start to maybe reach across the body. Or you could start to open up. You could even find maybe like a cactus arm out to the side. And if one range of motion you don't really feel much, then you don't have to worry about doing that. Just focus on where you are getting the most benefit, the most sensation and release. And if after a moment you no longer feel the tension where you did feel it, then just move that ball a little bit, right? Shift around. Make sure you're breathing, right? So this can be very intense, especially if you hold a lot of tension in your shoulders and your neck. So let your breath be boss, right? If you are in a position, if you are on some sort of knot and you cannot take a complete breath in and a complete breath out, then you need to back off just a little bit, right? Your breath should be able to flow relatively freely, right? Not that it won't get a little bit caught here and there, not that it won't feel very intense, but you should be able to breathe. All right, so we're nearing that 2-minute mark, so about 10 more seconds here. So you could shift around or find a good spot, take a big breath in, breath out. And then we're gonna move that ball down an inch or two, right? Still in between shoulder blade and the spine, right? So going into the rhomboid a little bit more. So move that ball down. Find a good spot. And then just start to take that big breath in, breath out. And then if it feels good, you can maybe start to take your arm through that range of motion. Right, breathing, moving, relaxing, right? Trying to relax at least. Right, and it should be a, oh, it hurts so good type of thing, right? So you're not experiencing actual pain. You shouldn't be experiencing any tingling or numbness in, your fingers or your toes, right? So, be mindful, pay attention to what's going on in your body, and always know that you can back off. You do not have to endure actual pain, right? It should feel like a good hurt. About 30 more seconds. Make sure you're finding something good to massage here. And then one more big breath in, breath out. And then we will slowly take that ball out from underneath that shoulder and just relax down for a moment, right? So both shoulders relax to the mat and just feel. And then maybe look over your right shoulder, look over your left shoulder. And then we're going to come up to a seat. Right, so get there however you want. I probably got crazy hair. It's all right. Okay, so We are going to use the ball for one more thing. So we are going to take the ball and we are going to massage our neck. So we're going to look towards our left shoulder and even bring the chin down towards the shoulder a little bit. And you can actually feel with your fingertips, you know, kind of some of the musculature that goes up into and connects into your skull and into the occipital ridge. Right? So you can kind of feel all that. And you'll notice that some areas will have more tension than others. So now you can either keep massaging with your fingertips, or you can take that ball and you can start to massage that line of muscle all the way from your shoulders and spine up into your skull. So some areas will have more tension than others, right? So you can kind of pay attention to the areas where you feel the most tension. And, you know, just skip some of the areas that feel like they don't have a lot going on, right? And so you could even find that it's more on the top of the shoulder where you feel tension. So you could always roll there. And you can always change, you know, the way your head is placed, right? So you could either maybe lift and the chin and look up a little bit if you want to expose different areas, or you could really, really tuck the chin in towards the shoulder. And take a big breath in, breath out. And then come up through center. Whew, that can be intense. Okay, we're gonna do that on the other side. Right chin, or your right chin to your right shoulder, okay? And then maybe tuck that chin a little bit. And then you can feel, maybe you feel first, you kind of look for some areas that sometimes you can just feel the tension, right, in the fingertips. Or find an area that feels extra tender. And then you can keep on with the fingers, or you can take the ball and you can start to roll that area. So if you tend to get kind of tension headaches, this can be really good for that. Right, so just massaging it out. Take a big breath in, breath out. And then, of course, you can start changing maybe the way your head is positioned, right? So just exploring a little bit, starting to learn a little bit about where you hold your tension. Maybe into the top of the shoulder here. Let's take one more big breath in, breath out, and then just come back up through center with the head. Whew. So just take a moment. If it feels good, you could take some neck circles, or you could look over one shoulder or the other, or just kind of hang out right here, right? You can even take shoulder circles instead. Okay, so from here, we are going to actually come into our tabletop position. So all fours. Hands can be underneath of your shoulders, knees underneath of your hips. And so a lot of times in yoga, we do a cat-cow, right? So inhale, the belly drops, head comes up, and exhale to round, and we will get there. But first, I want us to think about isolating our cervical spine, right? So your neck. So we're gonna try to keep the lower back and the middle back nice and neutral. We're trying not to find too much movement through there. We're trying to isolate all the movement into our upper spine. So look straight down. The belly hugs in to kind of flatten out the back, and then tuck your chin into your chest. Look towards your belly button as much as you can. Then on your inhale, look up, right? So the rest of the spine is staying the same. It's literally just that you're trying to move your head to look up as high as you can. It might not be that high, that is okay. And then look down in between the legs. So we're gonna do that a few more times, looking up, looking down. Keep going, 2 more. Right, really focusing on keeping the lower body nice and stable. We're pressing the hands into the ground to keep the shoulders from really riding up towards the ears. And then come back to our neutral spine. So from here, we're gonna send our hips back towards our heels. And then we're gonna find a thread the needle. So I'm gonna take my left arm and I'm gonna sweep it underneath of the right. So if this feels like it's a little bit too claustrophobic for you, you could always come up to tuck your toes under, or even come up to a tabletop and do your thread the needle there. But so anyways, left arm goes underneath, left shoulder comes towards the ground, and maybe your head rests down on the ground or on a block or a pillow or something, if you so choose. Right, that right hand can just support you, or it can reach out in front a little bit. Take a big breath in, breath out. Just breathing, relaxing. And take one more big breath in. Breath out, and then we're just gonna switch sides. So we'll reach that left arm forward, and we're gonna sweep that right arm underneath. The right shoulder comes down, maybe the head comes down. Remember, you can always lift the hips up a little bit higher if you would like. And again, big breath in, breath out. And let's do one more big breath in, let it go, and then come back through center. Right arm will reach out long. This time come up to that tabletop. We'll find our actual cat-cow, right? So moving the whole spine. But I want you to think about segmenting the spine. So we're gonna move the spine in kind of a wave here. So we're gonna start by inhaling. Just send your tailbone up towards the ceiling, making that little arch in your lower back. Your belly presses down towards the floor. Now your rib cage follows, and then the head comes up, right? The head comes up last. And now we'll repeat that, right? But the opposite direction. So we're gonna tuck the tailbone under, the lower back starts to round, the middle back starts to round, the upper back starts to round, and then the head drops down, right? So we're originating the movement from the tailbone. All right, so inhale, tailbone up, belly drops, heart comes through, head comes up, and then exhale, tailbone tucks around the spine, then the head drops. One more time, just like that. Inhale, tailbone lifts, belly drops, heart comes through, head comes up. And then exhale, tailbone tilts down, lower back, middle back, upper back, head. Then just come back through neutral and find a seat again, right? So however you want to sit, you can sit kind of in hero's pose or kneeling with the toes tucked or untucked, or you could find a cross-legged position. So from here, we're going to bring our arms out to the side, cactus arms, and we're going to lift the heart a little bit. Take a big breath in, breath out. Now, I want you to think about, so even though we're lifting the heart, we're not flaring the rib cage necessarily, right? We're going to keep the rib cage tucking in, so you are engaging the core a little bit, but the rib cage is tucking in, then the heart will lift a little bit. So your arms are in your cactus arms. Okay, we're going to take a big breath in, breath out. Okay, I'm gonna show you from behind, right? So we're gonna take a big breath in. This time on your breath out, we're gonna lift the heart a little bit more. We're gonna pull the elbows back towards each other behind you, right? So it's almost like you're trying to bring the elbows to touch. Take a big breath in, breath out, and then come back up. Okay, we're gonna do that one more time. Take a big breath in, breath out, and then inhale, pull the elbows back and down, lift the heart a little bit, keep the rib cage tucking a bit. And then release. Okay, so here we go. We've got just a few more. We're going to have our arms in this cactus arms. But from here, we're going to actually bring, so we're going to keep the shoulders relaxing down. We're not hunching up like this. We're relaxing the shoulders down. And then we're bringing the elbows and the hands towards each other. You're going to keep going. You're going to see, right, maybe you stop right here. That is okay. Maybe you stop right here. Maybe you can bring the elbows and the hands to touch. Okay, just hold it here. Press, press, press as far as you can wherever you are. It doesn't matter if the hands are touching or not. We're just pressing, pressing, pressing. And then we're gonna open back up. Elbows go back as wide as they can. Take a big breath in. And then breath out. Elbows come towards each other. See if you can get them to touch. The hands touch too, right? If the elbows don't touch, then the hands don't touch either. Let's leave them nice and parallel here, right? So only if they can both come in. Okay, then take a big breath in. Press, press, press. Breath out. And then open back up. Give the arms a little bit of a shake. All right, we've got just one more. Okay, so from here, we are actually going to, I'll probably have to show you this from maybe several different angles, but okay, so we're gonna bring our hands out to the side. Thumbs up, palms forward. Okay, so then from here, we're gonna keep the palms like that. We're just gonna reach the hands up, elbows stay back as wide as they can, and see if we can bring the hands behind the head without bringing the head forward, right? So we're seeing if we can keep the chest nice and open and the elbows nice and wide. Okay, then from here, we're gonna go back to that starting position, thumbs up, palms forward, but now we are going to flip the thumbs down, and we're gonna bring the hands behind the lower back. So I'm trying to not let the hands touch the lower back, right? I'm trying to keep the hands away from the lower back. The rib cage is still down, right? I'm not flaring through the shoulders or anything here. Okay, then we're gonna reach the arms back out to the side. Thumbs will rotate up, and then hands come behind the head. All right, let's do that again. Arms out to the side, thumbs rotate down, hands come behind the lower back. Okay, right, so let's do that 2 more times. Move at your own pace, hands out, then the thumbs up, hands behind the head. Hands out, arms out, thumbs down, hands behind the lower back. You're going up as far up the back as you can without the hands touching the back. All right. One more time up. And then one more time down. And then shake it out, right? Okay, so it's not, you know, super stretchy and all that, but in order to relieve kind of aches and pain and just tightness in general, we have to improve on our range of motion, right? And that involves strength a lot of the time. So we move, we stretch, we do our myofascial release, and then we also do need to strengthen. So just a little bit of stretching for kind of the muscles that we were just using. We're gonna bring the hands behind the back. Either you're gonna interlace fingers or you're gonna grab opposite forearms, right? So if you've got the fingers interlaced, we're gonna roll the shoulders back, hug the elbows towards each other, and then maybe the arms go towards straight. They definitely do not need to straighten all the way, right? You can keep a little bend in the elbows. If you've got forearms, then you're just pulling down a little bit and you're kind of gripping with your hands and almost pulling your hands away. It's like you want to pull the hands away, but you aren't. Take a big breath in, breath out, and then release the hands. And then one more big stretch. We're gonna find our puppy stretch. So the knees and the hips rather will stay over top of the knees or maybe even slightly behind. We're just gonna walk the arms out nice and far and then send the heart, press the heart towards the floor. Maybe the forehead can rest down. And just breathe here. Take a big breath in, breath out. And one more big breath in, let it go, and then we're gonna rise back up. All right, so there you have it. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit more open or at least a little bit less tightness in the neck and the shoulders. All right, well, until next time, keep on keeping on. Namaste.